And here to talk to us more about the destruction and the government's response is former director of FEMA, Michael D. Brown. Michael, thank you so much for being here.
You bet, Natasha.
I know that you have been critical of the Biden administration's handling of this disaster. You've said that President Biden shouldn't even visit Maui, and you called one of Biden's comments on Maui an abject failure. Tell us why you think this and why you think he shouldn't go tomorrow.
Well, the first reaction he had to this disaster was no comment. And when somebody said specifically, well, do you have a comment about the disaster in Hawaii? Either he was completely misinformed by his staff, which is a horrible thing to occur, or he was truly so out of it, he didn't know what they were talking about. And he said no comment and got back into the limousine. That's just awful to think that the president of the United States is that clueless about what's going on in Hawaii. With respect to his trip, if he can make this trip, now let me just explain that when a president makes a trip anywhere, the Secret Service is going to put a cap over the air. So no helicopters, no Chinooks, no Black Hawks, nothing are going to fly within a certain radius of Marine One. And then whenever the president lands, that area is going to be cordoned off, and there's not going to be anything going on. So I don't know this White House advance team. I don't know what they're doing, but I know in a disaster like this, I would have told the White House advance team, maybe you go to Honolulu, maybe you meet with the governor, maybe we fly some victims over to have a town hall or do something. But to actually go on Maui, I think, is going to be disruptive. And while everyone wants I understand why everybody wants the president to show up. But I just think we need to talk about the logistics and make certain that where he's going is not going to interrupt things. And just from my personal experience, they will interrupt things.
I know you're also putting out a call for honest communication from our leaders and agencies. What do you think we see too often when officials take a microphone during these disasters?
I always love the photo op where you get a governor and a state treasurer or maybe a mayor or somebody, and they go to the microphone. You got I experienced these myself, where you've got the FEMA director standing there, and you got a bunch of people lined up, and everybody's praising everybody else about the great coordination. Everything's going wonderful. That doesn't help people on the ground. You need to be honest about things. For example, I heard in an earlier report just now from one of your reporters that it may take up to 7 weeks to get power restored. Considering the devastation of this fire, I think 7 weeks might be optimistic. So I believe one thing for certain. Even in a disaster, the American people can handle the truth. So just tell them the truth about what you expect. I would also encourage people on Maui, get off social media, listen to officials, listen to government officials, listen to reliable news sources like NewsNation. Just make certain that you're listening to a reliable source and you're not watching Twitter or Facebook or some other place.
You know, we just heard in our reporter Evan Moon's story, Hawaii Governor Josh Green defending the federal government's response. He called it incredible. And he also seemed to defend Hawaii not using those emergency sirens, saying that it could have been dangerous to do so because of the tsunami training. What is your take on all of that?
Well, I'm not, I hesitate to say anything. First, of course, the governor is going to talk about how great things are because he's trying to get as much federal aid into there as possible. So he's not going to be critical, at least to the media, he's not going to be critical. With respect to the sirens, didn't we just have several years ago a accidental firing of the sirens thinking there was some nuclear attack occurring? Look, I think most people on the island understand that the sirens are used for tsunamis. That's been 60 plus years ago. And I think most tourists, when they hear a siren, understand there's danger. So they're going to try to figure out what the danger is. It's at least some sort of an alert that there's danger so that you can figure out some way to get out of the danger. Not using the sirens, I think, has become kind of a red herring. Let's investigate why sirens weren't used.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.